in Archer Inspirations. And today we thought, let's do something different. Let's ask each other questions around the business and who we are as Archer Inspirations. So to kick it off, I'm going to ask Cherish a couple of questions and put her a little bit on the spot, and then she'll have a go at me. And we'll see where it goes. And maybe one of the questions is exactly what you're looking for. So, Cherish, here we go.
Go
Question
for
number
it. I'm
one.
ready.
Question number one. What made you want to be part of this business, not just as my daughter, but as a coach in your own right?
I think for me, what really stood out is obviously when I started with working with you was because I was in a place where I wasn't really sure what I wanted for me, what I wanted for my business. And I knew that we work really well together just from the way we've always been together. And I think you always shared with me every day what you were doing in the coaching business, when you were starting it off. And I could see how much impact you were making and how much difference you were making in people's lives. And I think when we spoke and you said, why don't you come and work with me? It just felt so right because I've always been someone who loves helping people. I've always been someone that, loves to see other people succeed. And I think that's what really caught me was just the way the business was helping others. It wasn't necessarily the business itself, but what you were doing with your business. I think that's what made me join.
Awesome. Here comes question number two. From your perspective, what do you think makes Archer Inspirations different from other coaching spaces out there?
I think what makes us different is, and we say this a lot, is we're really not a cookie cutter company. We allow everyone to be who they are. We're not trying to make anyone be a specific coach. We say, well, who are you? What do you do? Okay, how can we support you in that? And I think that's what makes us different. We're not trying to make you fit into us. It's how can we rather support you and help see you grow and be the best coach that you can be.
That is so true. That really is what we want to do. Here's another question, and this one I think it's very more personal for you. What do you think women, and especially women of faith, are looking for in a coaching community right now?
Mm, I think what women are looking for is support. Um, I think with today, there is a lot of support for women, but I feel like there's not a place where people or women can be vulnerable in that space and have that support where they can say sometimes, I'm not okay, or my business is not okay. I'm tired of pretending everything's perfect. I'm tired of pretending, I have clients lined up for the next month. A place where they can be, what, I'm at the bottom. I really, really, really just need a place I can share, but not share and then just be left with that, open scars, but a place where a coach can help them guide them through that and see that this is just a season that they are in and that there's something more for them and that the reason they're in the place they are in now is to help them one day so that they can look back and say, that season's what made me. That's the season that I really truly was able to find support around me and find people that were also just true to who they are. I hope that answered that question.
Well, to follow that up, I think is key here is what kind of coach do you believe, or do you believe we're meant to attract? What kind of coach do you believe we were meant to attract?
The kind of coach I believe we're meant to attract is a coach that has their values and morals that drive them. I think both of us are also so true to our values and our morals, and it's literally what makes every decision for us. It's what helps us go through our day, not just in business, but in our personal lives as well. And so I think if a coach doesn't worry about profits, a coach that doesn't worry about the finances and the itsy bitsy, it's more truly about being who they are, being authentic to who they are, and allowing their values and morals to also drive them every day.
Awesome. I think we've got two to go. What's one moment where you realize we were building something special?
So this one's actually interesting. It's a moment actually where you weren't present, but it was time when we had a few coaches with us, and I can't reason, but we were having our team meeting on a Monday morning, and you weren't there, so I was running it. And the moment I realized what we built was so special is because so many people were vulnerable in that meeting, in the space of, I think we were all just having a bad week, or we were just not where we wanted to be at that present moment. And there was even tears involved because people just got to be raw. People got to be just truly, like I said, not lie about, oh, I have clients built up, but, saying, listen, right now I'm struggling, and personally I'm struggling. And it was a moment to realize the fact that we created a space that they knew that they could be so vulnerable with no judgment, with no, this isn't professional or anything, but just to have that moment. I feel like that's when I realized we really have made a business and a company that it's not just about, okay, what's going on in your business, but also what's going on with you. And I think that's also what makes us also different, going back to that question as well.
We put people first. Huh?
Yeah, definitely.
So if someone was sitting on the fence thinking, this sounds great, but is it really for me? What would you say to them?
That's a really interesting question. Mm, if someone was on the fence, what would I say? I think one thing that's also made us different is we've been very transparent on our business, our company. And so we've never been shy to say, you know what, join us for a team meeting, join us in a session, have a chat with us. Not on a professional state, but even on a personal state, let's meet for coffee and get to know us beyond the business, beyond the company. And I think that's what I would say to the person sitting on the fence is we've always been open to just, we're not just say, well, if you're not interested, thank you, goodbye. We really want to build relationships, even if you're not saying yes right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Cherish. Thanks for your honesty. Okay, I suppose now
Cool.
it's your turn for revenge.
Yes. Now you can be put a little bit on the spot and see how it feels. Okay. So question number one, and I think it goes back to the beginning really, is what made you walk away from the franchise model that you were in and to build something on your own terms?
So it's an interesting question that, and there's two parts to that answer, and the one is obviously the biggest one really was values. The values weren't aligning anymore, and um, we are a very value driven organization, and if the values, it made me feel uncomfortable when I was coaching with clients, even never mind when we were having team meetings or anything like that. But I also felt that in a franchise type of setup, there's way too many rules and lanes that you have to follow when you coach.
Mm-hmm.
So you are told you need to coach like this, and you are
Yeah.
told this is the procedure you need to follow. Why? Because somebody else was successful at that procedure, but it doesn't suit everybody's personalities and everybody's coaching style. So, yeah, I felt like my hands were tied. And in the moment I broke away and went my own way, making my own rules, doing it my own way, my coaching career bloomed. It just
Yeah.
exploded. I went from having two clients to having a full diary. It was the most amazing feeling ever because coaching is about what your client needs. It's not about what you're offering today. You know, if you walk into a room with, or you go into a room with the client and there's something else on their mind, something else that's bothering them, you need to deal with that first before you can move on to what you want to do or what they need. So coaching for me, it became about not what I, as the coach, are going to tell you need to do today, but rather as you, as the client, who needs what they need today. And when I work with coaches or work with clients, it's exactly the same.
So I think a follow-up question would be for me then is that what really drove you to create a non-cooking cutting company? Was the fact that you were so tied up?
100%. There's so many of them out there as well. Um, I mean, after I left the franchise, I looked at every other option there was. I looked at all the different coaches and what they're doing. And everybody's offering exactly the same thing. Okay. They're all promising X, Y, and Z. And then when you go and you do a purchase or you go to their sessions, it's all this followed step 1 to 5. Here's template 1 to 5. Here's and it's all about selling their signature programs and all of that stuff. So there's nothing really. How do you, as a coach, develop into who you are? And that's really what it's about. We're all different. Every coach I've ever met is different.
Yeah.
But they don't allow it through. The coaches that have come through us, they've found who they are, and they've gone off on their journeys about with who they really and truly wanted to be. Because as a coach, if you don't know who it is you are as a coach and who you want to be as a coach, you're going to battle, because every client you talk to is not going to believe you.
That's very true. And I think, would you say then, has your idea of success changed? And if so, how has it changed?
Yeah, the idea of success has changed multiple times. When you start out as a coach, success is pasted into you, into flying around the world and having yachts and massive big houses. That's that image that gets stuck in your head. So in the beginning, that's what you believe success is.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, success is not money. Success is not how many clients you have. The success is the results your clients get. That for me is success. When you work with a client and they go from being 3 people to 40 in 3 years, that's success. When a client who worked from Monday to Friday and we changed it from Tuesday to Saturday, doubles their turnover, that's success. It's little things like that. When you watch somebody who's been a general manager for years take in and step into the CE role and watch the business bloom, that's success. So it's your client's success, not your success. Because if they're successful, you're successful. So it changes. We can measure success in all sorts of ways. But the most important success as a coach is that feeling that money cannot buy.
I have to agree with that. And I think that goes back to even when I was saying that's what makes us different and that's what made me join. And I think that feeling that you've now shared is what will drive other coaches who want that same feeling to be part of us. And so I think the following question would then be, why are you so passionate about bringing the right kind of coaches? So it's not just any kind of coach that approaches us, but the right kind of coach.
I've been through the wrong kind of coaches many times. We've had plenty of them come through us.
Yeah.
And I think the lessons learned there, were rather say no to somebody than disappoint both sides. So the right type of coach joining us is so important. That coach that really wants to make a difference, that coach that isn't going to go, yeah, I'll do it later. No, the coach that is committed and really and truly driven to what they want to do, who has that desire to make a difference in the world. You know,
Yeah.
our vision is everybody deserves a coach. And it's not just everybody deserves a coach, everybody deserves the right coach because coaches are
Mm.
different and people are different. And you've got to align the coach and the person. They've got to align and they've got to connect because if you've got the wrong coach, your business will fail. If
Yeah.
you've got a failing business with the right coach, your business can succeed. So coaching is, and I might be a right fit for one company, but the wrong fit for the next. So there's no right fit. It's about knowing when you align and your fit is right. You will know it when you have a proper conversation, when honesty is there, when the right values are shared. So having the right coach is exactly the same thing. That coach that's open to learn, that coach that's committed to serve, that coach who uses their intelligence the right way. And when I say the word intelligence, I'm talking about emotional intelligence. I'm talking about all of those various different, whatever you call them, names. Okay, not my greatest skills. Um, and the alignment is there. The coaches that want to make a difference, want to learn, who don't show arrogance, who don't come on and say, I was certified by X, Y, and Z, so I'm better than you. No,
Mm.
let's work it together. And that's what it's
Yeah.
about.
So then what do you think a coach gets when they join us? But like beyond the tools and the templates that we obviously offer with them when they join, but what else do you think they will get if they join us?
So, you know that feeling of the hard day at work and you get home and you walk into something that's yours and you sit down, you put up your feet and you just take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's called home.
Mm.
And that's what coaches get when they're with us. They have that place where they can drop the guard. They can kick their shoes off and go, okay, I'm here. But that doesn't mean they're just going to lie around all day. No, okay. It's a place for them to learn. It's a place for them to feel like they're at home, where they will feel comfortable, where they will transform into the coach they've known deep down inside of them that they've always meant to be. That's what it's about.
I really, really like that. I like that feeling. Um, let's see. Okay, here's a question for you. What do you hope this business becomes in 5 years from now?
Okay, so let's correct the question because I don't believe in the word hope. Because hope gives you an
Okay.
opportunity to bail out. Okay, so
Yep.
what do I believe the business will become in 5 years' time? An international coaching company with a variety of different business coaches in it, all sharing the values and the changes and helping fulfill our vision of everybody deserves a coach. Because for one coach working for me, I can double what I do. 10 coaches working for me, with me, not for me, with me, is
Mm.
times it by 10. And for every coach that comes on, we're making a bigger impact in the world. The world is changing and it's changing fast. And people are having to deal with all sorts of different issues around the business and their lives. And
Mm.
who do they go to? Who do they talk to? I've been through a lot. You've even been through a lot.
Yeah.
We've got stories to share and lessons to teach what we've learned. And we've got the ability to learn from them at the same time. So if you imagine 10 coaches, each with 5 years experience as a coach, that's 50 years of experience available per client. That's where I want to see. That's the way I look at it. So multiple coaches sharing their knowledge, sharing their experiences to make a bigger brand. I have that vision of that dome with all our logos on it.
Yeah.
And I still believe that we could become that one place where people go. If they need a coach, there's only one place to go.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Go and find the coach that works for you.
And it will be that. I'm claiming it for us. So
Yeah,
last question, and then this one's a little bit more on the personal side, but how would you say working with me has changed the way you lead?
I think it's working together. The way I've changed lead is to be open, to listen, to take in other people's perspectives. That I'm not always right, though most of the time I probably am. But I do make mistakes and I can get called out on them. And I respect people who call me out on the mistakes and when they do. And it's not just you, it's Michelle, it's everybody that works in the team. They can call me out on anything and I respect it. So, as a leader, knowing you're not always right and knowing you can be wrong and knowing you do sometimes step out of line, you allow your team to say, hey, uh-uh. It's what you would do with anybody else, isn't it? So leading together is probably the biggest lesson I've changed in working with you.
Awesome. Those are the questions I have for you.
Good. I think that's a wrap.
Yep.
Ah, one last question.
Okay.
What does the legacy mean to us?
What does the legacy mean to us? I think for me personally, when I think of legacy, and I guess this one's also like obviously very like personal, obviously with you being my dad, it's having your beliefs and what you've worked so hard for um, to be seen through generations in the future. And it's beyond just the business you've built, the company you've built, but those values and morals that you taught me being younger and you've taught me in my businesses and how to be in the business world. I want generations and generations to get back to that because I think, especially with all these AIs and where the world is headed, I think there's going to come a time when we're going to miss back that human touch and that human feel. And I think that's what you've created so beautifully, even with the dome. And I think that's what something I really truly hope and want for the legacy to continue showing is beyond just everything, but that personal touch and those values and morals that can be seen for generations and generations.
Oh, awesome. Done.
How would you answer that question?
How would I answer the question? What does legacy mean to me? Legacy for me is bigger than me because when, and this was something that puzzled me right in the beginning when I started coaching, what happens to me? What happens to what I've built when I stop coaching?
Yeah.
And majority of coaches, well, that's the end. Okay. The book's closed. You finish reading it. It's done. Well, I want the book to continue beyond me. And like you said, there's that thing that's left. So you will take over from me, and I'll probably still be coaching until I can't even make sense anymore. But
Until we have to once again tell you no, it's now
no,
finished.
yes, okay. But and then it's yours, and whoever you decide to take it over with, and build, and hopefully we have another generation coming through. Who knows? With one of the grandkids, they might come through and become coaches. You never know. It may go public. I don't know. You can go and sell it publicly, and we can become the biggest coaching company in the world. Doesn't matter. But what does a legacy mean for me is it's something that's going to be here long after I'm gone.
Love that I think this is the first time we've asked each other this question, and it's nice to see that even though legacy might mean two different things for us, we're still meeting in the middle of it. And I think that's really cool. I
Yeah,
mean, I think one question that really for me is what do you wish more coaches knew before they jumped into business on their own? Because this is a question that really I think hits hard even for me, besides coaching, was just in business in general. But what do you think you wish more coaches knew before going on their own?
how to run a business.
Mm.
You know, when you go and do your coaching certification, they don't teach you how to run the business. And when you know how to run a business, you run the business.
Mm.
When you understand how to run a business, you can plan better, you can strategy better without trying to play catch up all the time. As coaches, the one thing we love doing is coaching.
Mm.
The one thing we don't like doing is running the business.
Thought you were going to say being coached.
Well, that too, that's part
Too.
of running a business. Right?
Yeah.
So if you have those advantages of those things taken care of for you,
Mm.
and don't believe all the fluffy cookie cutting stuff that's out there. Find something that works genuinely for you and do your homework. Do the homework.
I have to agree with that. And I think also it's like you said, don't believe in that fluff. And like you said, because I also find with experience and all of that is it doesn't matter what kind of business you have, business foundation is all the same. And that's something we also teach our clients. I know it's something I get asked a lot. It's like, what industries have you coached? And I always feel like saying it's an irrelevant question because if you look at it, the business foundation of business is all the same. And, I find also when coaches are starting on their own, it's because they have this passion of something. They have what doesn't matter what kind of coach they are, but let's say they are a business coach, it's because they had a passion of something in business. But then with that passion, they forget about all the other stuff that comes with it of running a business. And I think that's also the beautiful support that we provide is we allowing coaches to coach. We allow you to just focus on the passion, the reason why you were interested in coaching. And we provide, and Arch Inspirations provide the support so that you can have a successful running business with your coaching.
You know, just to add a little bit onto what you said there, when people ask you what industries have you coached in, when people ask me that, I get excited when I've never coached in the industry.
Mm.
And the reason is I don't want to influence their decision making on how they should be doing what they're good at.
Yeah.
My job is to help them be good at their business. And I don't want a retailer. I mean, I did all those years in retail. I don't want to coach a retailer because I don't want to tell them that their floor's dirty. I don't want to tell them that they're ordering stock the wrong way and they should do
Mm.
it like I did it. No, I want to challenge them on how good is their housekeeping? What is the impression their clients are getting of their business? I want to challenge them on how do they improve the the whole process from factory to floor. That's the things that I want to challenge them on. And not be led in, I did it this way and I did it that, because that
Mm.
you can fall into that trap very easily as a coach. And you start becoming the mentor, not the coach. So, it's the industry doesn't bother me. The industry, the less I know about the industry, the better I can actually unpack their business.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, based on what you said, I find the less you know about the industry, obviously you're going to be asking the client more questions. And I feel like those questions are questions they maybe haven't even asked themselves in that industry.
Correct.
I've also, I mean, I've always been stuck into certain industries of my own, but when you're having someone, it's about asking those questions. And I feel like that's something I've always done. I'm a little bit annoying sometimes. I'm like, okay, but what is the industry? Okay, but what does that mean? And how do you guys do that? And when you ask those questions and someone has to answer those questions, it makes them really think, well, how are we doing this? How are we, what is the systems we're using? Do I understand the system that my accountancy is using, for example, if you had to ask that question? So being almost in the word naive as a coach for your client's industry, I think benefits the clients and benefits the coaching.
100%. I don't, and every industry talks a different language,
Mm,
and so unpacking the language alone makes them stop and think, okay, but why do we? Why
yeah,
do we do it that way? And goes back down to the who, when, what, how, and why.
why? The more important one, why?
Okay,
Cool.
awesome. Thanks, Cherish. This was brilliant. We should do it more often.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for the questions.